Hi everyone, welcome to the webinar and workshop series conducted by TCS in lieu of the upcoming operational case study examinations happening in May 2024. My name is Nick and I'm the lead tutor and evaluator for OCS at TCS. So let's look at what's covered within tonight's webinar. So first things first, I'm going to take you through the technicalities behind the Preseen application when developing your answers. You need to be conversant about how you are supposed to bring in information from the Preseen. There's a way in which you are supposed to handle this. There's absolutely no point of uh, simply bringing in information from the Preseen with the intention of showing to the examiner that you have gone through the Preseen document. Instead, whenever you are bringing in information, you need to make sure that you do it with the intention of improving the quality of your answer or adding value to your answer. So all these elements will be covered in the first part of tonight's webinar. And in the second part of tonight's webinar, we are moving on to the Preseen analysis. Thereby, I'd be highlighting the industry dynamics considering the saddle manufacturing industry, because I shared the Preseen document via the WhatsApp group, OCS WhatsApp group. I hope you had already gone through it, and on top of that, I shared a blog post as well, which highlighted the internal dynamics as well as the external dynamics of Kanann, based on which this time's Preseen is built. So covering these elements, highlighting the external dynamics of Kanann as well as the internal dynamics, I will be conducting a Preseen analysis. Hopefully, you'd gain a good understanding about the industry of this time's Preseen, as well as what happens within the chosen company. Okay, so before we get into the technicalities, let me quickly remind you about what we have scheduled, or the webinars and workshops we have scheduled. So we had our first webinar where I explained a study technique which spans across 7 weeks. So if you stick to the study plan, you just need to allocate 7 hours of study time on a weekly basis. And if you stick to this study plan, as I mentioned in the previous webinar, you'd have a week at your disposal where you'd be relaxing a week before your exam, where you'd finish off all your work. So I hope you'd stick to these guidelines which I provided. If you missed out on the webinar, you can watch the recorded version via our YouTube channel, as well as the recorded version is available via our website. So in the third webinar, which is happening next week, out of the 4 webinars which we have scheduled, the most important is happening on the 30th of March, which is next Saturday, and at 10 a.m. UK time. So why am I saying that the third webinar is the most important? Simply given the fact that I'm highlighting and answering and time management technique. So if you are clueless about how to manage your time appropriately, then you'd definitely run out of time when attempting each of your tasks. And if you run out of time, you cannot pass the exam. So you need to adhere to these guidelines with the intention of ensuring that you manage your time appropriately. And on top of that, with the intention of improving the quality of your answers, you need to really focus on planning out your answer or structuring your answer before you start typing the fully fledged answer. So all these elements will be covered in the third webinar. So I'll be highlighting the theoretical elements pertaining to answering and time management techniques. And on top of that, I will also mention how to implement these techniques by taking you through the free mock exam, which we have developed for the upcoming OCS exams. And in the fourth webinar, exam prep, I will be taking you through examiner's comments, because it's of utmost importance that you understand what's expected from you. So it's better to understand the psychology of the examiner as well as the marker. So all these elements are covered in the fourth webinar. And on top of that, I will also highlight what you need to do to improve your confidence, because as per the CIMA examiner, confident students end up passing the OCS exam comfortably. So all these elements will be covered in the fourth webinar. And in the workshops, in the first two workshops, I will be taking you through different elements of the free mock exam which we have provided, thereby taking you through P1 and F1 related questions and highlighting how we are supposed to develop answers. And in the final webinar, which workshop rather, which happens 2 or 3 days before your examination, I will be giving you last minute tips, which will be extremely beneficial for you to develop a positive mindset right before the exam. So on a weekly basis, we are conducting a webinar or a workshop. So make use of these free sessions which we are conducting. This is going to be extremely beneficial for you because you have the possibility of getting in touch with a tutor on a weekly basis, which helps you immensely with regards to keeping track of your performance in the upcoming 7 weeks. And on top of that, after attempting each mock exam, you'd have questions which need answers. So you can raise all these concerns within either of the webinars and the workshops. So I hope you'd attend all these webinars and workshops which we have scheduled for you. All right, so getting into the technicalities behind tonight's webinar. So I said I'll highlight what you need to do or what you need to get right with regards to Preseen application. What's the right approach? First things first, you need to know your key information such as Kanann sells 5 saddle ranges. So likewise, you need to be conversant with relevant information, and certain information you need to, remember or memorize. However, your life becomes easy because we are providing actually speaking, 3 main resources with the intention of ensuring that you remember the most relevant information pertaining to Kanann as well as its industry. We have developed an annotated Preseen which looks something like this. So I'll be conducting the Preseen analysis based on the annotated Preseen. So as part of these annotations, what I've done is I've brought out the most relevant information, leaving out the irrelevant ones, so that you are solely focusing on the most important information highlighted within the Preseen document. So your job is to simply go through these annotations which we have provided, which is a good summary. And on top of that, based on these annotated Preseen, we have developed 4 Preseen analysis videos. So once you watch these 4 videos, you would gain an in-depth understanding about what the company is up to, its internal dynamics, its external dynamics, as well as the financial performance. And on top of that, we are also providing a free, mind map, which covers the entire Preseen via our TikTok handle. So we have already developed 3 TikTok videos, which covers the entire Preseen. So this is a good mind map. If you keep watching these 3 TikTok videos on a continuous basis, it's gonna just take 6 to 7 minutes of your time on a daily basis. So if you keep on watching these 3 TikTok videos, there's absolutely no way that you'd forget the most important points highlighted within the Preseen document. So with the intention of ensuring that you fulfill the first requirement, which is to know your key information, refer to the annotated Preseen, watch the 4 Preseen analysis videos, and refer to the mind maps, which will be shared via TikTok in the upcoming days. And with regards to the numbers, you have to remember the key ratios. Again, you need not worry too much about it because we have developed a separate set of financial analysis videos as well as financial analysis slides. So once you go through this set of videos, and on top of that, once you go through this set of slides, you are in a position to easily remember what's mentioned within the financial statements. I'm not going to take you through the financial statements of Kanann. Instead, I'm just going to take you through a sample slide based on what we have developed for the previous case study. So our financial analysis slides, as you can see, we have evaluated each financial statement, the statement of profit and loss. We have kept the evaluations simple and concise so that you can easily understand what's highlighted within each financial statement. So the same could be said about the balance sheet, the statement of cash flows, and at the very end, a ratio analysis is conducted, and each ratio we have evaluated in depth, so that yet we have kept things simple so that you can easily understand what happens within your chosen organization. So that's the second point. Again, we have covered this element. You need not do anything to remember the key ratios. Simply watch the Preseen analysis video, the fourth one, which is dedicated for a financial analysis, and refer to the financial analysis slides. And you have to prepare for possible scenarios, but be open-minded. So at your exam, you can be prepared by attempting mock exams. What you should aim to achieve is to when attempting mock exams, you have to make sure to cover the entire syllabus, or else you would be testing your luck at your examination. I know for a fact that most students who end up failing the OCS exam, they just attempt one or two mock exams. You cannot cover the entire syllabus by attempting just one or two mock exams, uh, especially if you are coming through an exemption route such as FLP. So you have to be conversant with the entire syllabus. The CIMA examiner tells you that you have to be open-minded because any area of the syllabus can be tested. So it's of utmost importance that you attempt the 5 mock exams. The objective of attempting the 5 mock exams, as I told you earlier, is not to memorize any theoretical elements. Instead, the objective is to get your bearings with how each syllabus area can be tested in a case study setting. It's something like this. You have to learn about activity-based costing. However, at your exam, you are not supposed to do up any calculations pertaining to activity-based costing. Instead, the facts and figures will be provided at your exam. Considering these facts and figures, you are supposed to explain how activity-based costing should be implemented within your chosen company, or the pros and cons of activity-based costing, or you have to say whether activity-based costing is relevant to Kanann, considering its internal dynamics, what it's up to. You have to consider whether they have batch level activities, whether their overheads are considerable, against the total costs and whatnot. So all these elements should be considered. All these areas will be tested pertaining to activity-based costing. So your role is to explain or provide your evaluations utilizing your theoretical knowledge. So you have to be prepared for possible scenarios, but it's not about trying to memorize something. It's all about being open-minded and being ready. So once you had attempted all 5 mock exams, you would have practiced questions covering the entire syllabus. So that's enough and more practice which you need. After that, it's just a matter of being open-minded. Do not try to memorize anything, because in a real life corporate environment, you cannot memorize anything. Instead, you would be based on the guidelines provided by your superior. You would be developing your suggestions and providing recommendations. So that's what's expected at the CIMA OCS exam as well. And remember that the scenario presented in the exam carries the latest information. So via the Preseen document, the examiner gives us an indication about the history of the company, what has happened within the past, as well as the past industry dynamics, as well as the financial statements pertaining to the years 2022 and 2023. But at your exam, you are playing the role of a finance officer who is walking into office and opening up the email account in the year 2024. So what's highlighted within the Preseen gives us an indication about the past of the organization, its industry, as well as financial situation. But at the exam, present information will be given to you. So when you are considering present or current information, there'll be a situation where your senior management team or your finance manager or some other type of a manager is asking for your opinion when trying to exploit an opportunity at the disposal of Kanann, or else the company might be facing some type of an internal issue, and your finance manager will ask your opinion about with regards to how to overcome this internal issue, or the company might be facing some type of a threat. So you'd have to come up with your recommendations or evaluations which will help the senior management team overcome this threat. So what you're supposed to do on the day of the exam is considering current information and considering what you have learned by going through the Preseen document, develop your suggestions. So when developing your suggestions or providing your recommendations or when conducting your evaluations, you have to consider the past as well as the present of your chosen company, which is Kanann. Okay, so then moving on, referring to Preseen in your answers, what are you supposed to do? How are you supposed to bring in Preseen information when developing your answers? You are supposed to refer or cite in such a way that it adds value to your answer. So when marking answer scripts of students, what I've encountered is most students out there, they think, as I mentioned at the very beginning of this webinar, most students, what they think is they are simply gaining some marks because they bring in some information from Preseen. That is not how it works. So for instance, if there is a question about activity-based costing, and if you mention about Kanann manufacturing 5 different saddles, and if that information is not too relevant to the scenario at hand, then you are not going to get marks. Just because you bring in information from the Preseen, you won't be awarded any marks. Instead, the Preseen information which you are bringing in should be relevant to the scenario at hand and should add value to your answer. So for instance, if there's a question about activity-based costing, and if you want to bring in Preseen information, what you need to tell is, considering the internal dynamics of Kanann, if we look at the overheads, the variable and fixed overheads as a percentage of total costs, it ranges between 40 to 44%. So because of that, activity-based costing is relevant to Kanann. So that's a relevant information which has everything to do with activity-based costing, because under activity-based costing principles, we have to consider the overheads. If overheads are significant when compared with total costs, then we can gain extreme levels of benefit by implementing activity-based costing. So you are saying, since the overheads are ranging from 40 to 44% of total costs as per the budgets, as well as the standard cost cards provided in the Preseen document, activity-based costing can be implemented successfully within Kanann. So likewise, when developing your answers, you need to ensure that whenever you are bringing in Preseen information, that it adds value to your answer. And when bringing in Preseen information, try to show your understanding of the Preseen material through relevant answers without making it obvious that you are trying to prove that you have studied it. So simply, without bringing in unnecessary Preseen information, always make sure to bring in relevant Preseen information. So you'd understand how to do it in a practical sense when you attend the 3rd webinar, exam technique. And on top of that, once you refer to the suggested answers and the answer plans which we have developed for each of the 5 mock exams, you are in a position to understand how and when relevant Preseen information should be brought into the answer with the intention of improving the quality of your answer. And if you watch the master classes which we have developed for each of the mock exams, you'd definitely understand how we are supposed to do this. Okay, then with regards to E1, F1, and P1, what are you supposed to do with regards to these theoretical elements? You are supposed to prepare for application of theories and concepts, because as I've mentioned earlier in the first webinar also, I mentioned this, the OCS exam is a highly technical examination. So because of that, theories will be, your knowledge pertaining to theories and concepts will be heavily tested, especially, focused on the P1 and F1 areas. So all these elements are covered within our mock exams. So you need not worry about you having to study these elements on your own. We have covered them via the mock exam. So if you attempt the 5 mocks, watch the master classes and refer to the answer plans, you'd significantly improve your theoretical knowledge. And on top of that, with regards to numbers, how are you supposed to tackle the numbers? Prepare for interpretation of figures and numbers. You are not supposed to do any calculations. There will be minor calculations such as, adding two figures together, and dividing two figures and whatnot. Other than that, there won't be major calculations, because all the facts and figures will be provided as part of the reference material. So for instance, if there's a question about variance analysis, you are not expected to do any calculations or calculate the variances. Instead, the variances will be provided as part of reference material. Your job is to explain each of these variances and highlight why these variances occurred, considering the internal dynamics of the company and what it is facing at the moment. So your job is to interpret figures and numbers. And when conducting your preparations, you are not supposed to skip any topic, because any area can be tested. So that's exactly why I said there's absolutely no point of you planning to attempt just 1 or 2 mocks, because if you do that, you are not in a position to cover the entire syllabus. So it's prudent to cover the entire syllabus, thereby attempting 5 exam standard and Preseen specific mock exams. And do not rely on predictions, as any area can be examined. So I've seen tutors, so many tutors out there, they'd say, okay, this is going to be tested for sure, and this area will not be tested. That is not the case. As per what's highlighted within each exam blueprint, which is publicized after each examination sitting, the examiner particularly tells us that any area can be tested. So when conducting your preparations, you have to attempt mock exams which covers the entire syllabus, or else you'd be testing your luck. Okay, so having said that, let me quickly tell you what we offer at TCS before we move on to the much anticipated Preseen analysis session. Okay, so we are on the OCS page. You can click on this button and check the free content. The free content consists of the recorded versions of the webinars and the workshops, free mock exams, which consist of 4 tasks, just like in your real exam. It's a suggested answer and the answer plan. So that's what comes under the free content. And if you're interested in purchasing our paid content, before you do, check the sample material so that you gain an understanding about what we offer at TCS. Then if you're not yet part of the OCS WhatsApp discussion forum, click on this button and join it, because via this forum, I will be sharing further free content with you. And on top of that, I'll keep you informed about the weekly webinars and workshops. And on top of that, whenever you have a question, you can raise these concerns via the WhatsApp group. I'm always there to help you guys out. Okay, so having said that, let me tell you about the 2 packages which we offer. We offer the value pack and the premium pack. The value pack is designed for students who have completed the CIMA OTQ exams. So if you are coming through the CIMA general route, if you had completed your OTQs, then you are extremely conversant with the theoretical elements which are covered under E1, F1, and P1. So because of that, you need not learn theory. Instead, it's just a matter of attempting mock exams to get your bearings with how each theoretical element is tested at a CIMA case study examination. So focused on these students, we have developed the value pack. So it comes with the recordings of all webinars and workshops, the 5 mock exams with suggested answers, which covers the entire syllabus. We have not left out any element. We have covered the entire syllabus. Actually speaking, if you attempt the 5 mock exams and the additional free mock which we provide, all in all, we are providing 6 mock exams, of which 1 is free. So if you attempt all these mock exams, you would be attempting 70 subtasks in total. So once you had attempted 70 subtasks in total, no other service provider is giving you 70 subtasks. So once you had attempted 70 subtasks, you can ensure a first time pass. And on top of that, once you stick to our study plan, you can get all these things done, all these activities which are needed to ensure first time pass done within a short period of time in the smartest manner. I've explained these things in the first webinar, so if you missed out on it, please go watch the recorded version. Then you'd gain access to the annotated Preseen. I showed you what an annotated Preseen looks like, and based on it, I will be conducting the Preseen analysis session in a while. And you'd also gain access to the industry analysis and financial analysis cards. So I showed you what our financial analysis cards look like. And when conducting the industry analysis, I will be utilizing the industry analysis slides which we have prepared for this time's case study. And you'd also gain access to the top 10 likely issue slides, case study familiarization kits, which helps you with understanding the technicalities behind your examination. And you'd also gain access to OTQ revision cards. So since you're already conversant with the theoretical elements, you just need to brush up your theoretical knowledge. So the best way to do it is by referring to our OTQ revision cards, which we have developed for E1, P1, and F1. So the package is priced at £199. And looking at the premium package, this is designed for students who are coming through the exemption route, such as FLP, or those who had failed the exam in the previous sitting. So both the students, those who are coming through the exemption route and those who had failed their examinations, the main concern is with regards to knowledge gaps. So you need to really learn your theory. Without learning theory, you cannot pass this exam, especially given the fact that out of the 3 case studies conducted by CIMA, this is extremely theory heavy. 80% of the time, your theoretical knowledge will be tested. Your application skills are tested 20% of the time. So if you are not too conversant with theory, then you cannot pass this exam. So most students who are coming through the exemption route, although they are conversant with some theoretical elements, they do not know the syllabus in its entirety, especially pertaining to the P1 syllabus. So with this in mind, we have developed the premium package with the intention of teaching you theory and improving your application skills. So the premium package comes with everything which is covered under the value pack. On top of that, you'd gain access to the online mock exam platform. So we have developed a mock exam platform which is akin to the Pearson VUE system, which you'd use at your real examination. So when attempting each of your 5 mock exams, you can do it under exam conditions via our exam platform. And when attempting each mock exam, you are supposed to keep practicing your answering and time management techniques, which will be highlighted in next week's webinar. So if you do it, then you are in a position to get rid of exam stress, as well as manage your time appropriately and significantly improve the quality of your answers. So the best way to practice these elements, the best way to get accustomed to exam stress is to attempt each mock exam under exam conditions via our online mock exam platform. So under the premium package, you'd gain access to it, and you'd also receive one-on-one tutor feedback for mocks 3, 4, and 5. So out of the 5 mocks, the first 2 mocks are there to get your bearings with your answering and time management techniques. And once you are conversant with these elements, from mock 3 onwards, you are supposed to do a good job. And based on your performance, we will be providing tutor feedback. So let me quickly show you the type of feedback which we provide at TCS. So as you can see, on a paragraph by paragraph basis, in-depth evaluations are provided with the intention of ensuring that you really understand what your shortcomings are and you are in a position to improve your shortcomings, with the intention of ensuring that you significantly improve your answer structures or answer plans. Okay, so that's exactly what you can see throughout this answer script. And at the very end, mark allocations have been provided on a subtask by subtask basis, and we have determined a success rate on a subtask by subtask basis as well. So the success rate indicates the areas which are highlighted in yellow indicates the subtasks in which your performance, this student's performance, was not up to the required level of standard. And after receiving tutor feedback, when conducting revision, what you are supposed to do is, rather than attempting the entire mock again, thereby allocating 3 hours of your time or wasting 3 hours of your time, what you are supposed to do is to simply focus on the subtasks which are highlighted in yellow and redevelop answer plans. So with regards to developing answer plans, there's a technique which you need to adhere to, which will be explained in the third webinar. And general comments are also provided at the very end. So that's the type of feedback which we provide, which comes under the premium package. And you'd also gain access to answer plans of all 5 mock exams. So no other service provider is giving you answer plans. You just gain access to mock exams and their suggested answers. We have gone a step further. We are providing the answer structures or short notes focused on each subtask which is covered within our mock exam. So as you can see, this is a previous answer plan which was developed for the previous session. The entire answer is in a summarized form, and you can easily understand the structure, how theoretical elements had been brought in, how to work on application, and how to work on Preseen implementation. So all these elements can be easily understood by going through the answer plans which were provided. And when conducting your preparations, you are supposed to replicate these answer plans, because if you do, you'd gain full marks at your exam. Okay, so that's what comes with the premium package, and it also comes with 20 master classes as well. And within these master classes, focused on each task covered within the 5 mock exams. So each mock exam consists of 4 tasks. So 4 tasks into 5 mock exams comes up to 20 tasks in total. So focused on each task, we have developed 20 master classes, and in each masterclass, we are teaching you the logic behind each answer whilst teaching you theory and application. So if you failed in your previous sitting and if you're coming through the exemption route, you need to significantly improve your theory and application skills. The best way to improve theory and application, or to learn theory and improve your application skills, is to watch the master classes. So you need not refer to any study material, study texts, your past notes and whatnot. Simply watch the 20 master classes, then you'd learn theory and improve application skills. And the premium package comes with a pass guarantee as well. So if you end up investing on the premium package and if you fail, then you'd gain access to the content which comes under the premium package in your subsequent sitting free of charge. However, in order to claim your pass guarantee, you have to fulfill these requirements. You have to complete all 5 mock exams, because as I've been telling you over and over, without completing the 5 mock exams, you are not in a position to cover the entire syllabus. So you have to complete all 5 mock exams. And when developing your answers, they need to be original. There's absolutely no point if you try to cheat yourself by copying and pasting suggested answers or referring to the answer plans before attempting each mock exam. Instead, you have to really understand where you are. That's the only way to understand your shortcomings and stand a chance to improve or get rid of your shortcomings. So your solutions need to be original, and you have to meet the performance criteria from mock 3 onwards. you have to gain 40% or higher for mocks 3, 4, and 5. Why have we come up with this type of performance criteria for the last 3 mocks? With the intention of ensuring that you are serious when attempting each of the mock exams, especially given the fact that you are receiving tutor feedback for mocks 3, 4, and 5. So once you have fulfilled these 3 requirements, there's absolutely no way that you'd fail your OCS exam. So students who stick to our study plan and who had invested on the premium package, although the pass mark is 80, they gain more than 100 marks comfortably. So I invite you guys to invest on your preferred package. So the price of the premium package is £649, which can be paid in 2 installments of £324 each. However, if you opt to pay in full, you can save £100. Therefore, the package will be £549. So you can select your preferred package. So all products are available until the 31st of August 2024. So if you're planning on conducting preparations focused on the sessions which are happening in August, you can invest right now so that you have a head start. And you can check out the OCS study plan by clicking on this button. And on top of that, let me take you through the student dashboard. So we have come up with a performance tracker. So we are supposed to pick the package which you have invested. Even if you had not invested on a package, even if you had simply selected the free package, you'd still have access to this progress tracker. So this progress tracker had been developed with the intention of ensuring that you have your bearings with where you are at as a student, whether you are sticking to the study plan or not. So for each area, the green green highlighted areas or the areas with the green ticks indicate the study resources which I have accessed so far, and the other areas indicate the study resources which I have not accessed. And on top of that, focused on each video, the pre-scene analysis videos and the master classes, there's a performance tracker as well, which indicates the percentage view minutes, which helps you keep track of your preparations. And there is a total progress, a progress bar which indicates your total progress. So based on what I've gone through so far, my progress is just 13%. So likewise, on a weekly basis, until the end of your session, you can keep track of your performance via our progress tracker. So make use of these resources which we offer, so that you can significantly improve your chances of passing. So having said that, let's move on to the pre-scene analysis. Sarah is asking a question, will this be available via YouTube afterwards to review and rewatch? Yes, indeed. This will be, Sarah, this will be available on our YouTube handle as well as under the free content via our website. Okay, so let's move on to the pre-scene analysis. As I told you earlier, first things first, I'm going to highlight the industry dynamics, then move on to the internal dynamics of Kanann. So I'm going to, when taking you through the industry dynamics, I'm going to utilize the industry analysis slides, which we have prepared for May and August OCS sessions. So I'm not going to take you through the entire set of slide deck because the entire slide deck is only available to paid students. Instead, I'm simply going to focus on 2 or 3 elements which are extremely relevant for you. So first things first, we need to understand what this market is. We need to understand the market definition. So this time's pre-scene is based on the saddle manufacturing market. So what is this industry? This industry is part of a broader horse riding equipment market. So we are involved with manufacturing saddles, which should be considered as part of a broader horse riding equipment market. So different type of equipment are there with regards to horse riding. We are not involved with manufacturing these different type of equipment. Instead, Kanann is solely focused on manufacturing saddles. And there are various different players out there who are solely focusing on saddle manufacturing, or some players manufacture saddles as well as related components or equipment which can be utilized for horse riding. So what you need to understand is this industry is all about horse riding equipment. And out of all these equipment, Kanann focuses primarily and solely on saddle designing, manufacturing, and selling. And saddle manufacturers produce various types of saddles such as Western, English, dressage, and jumping saddles made from materials like leather, synthetic fabrics, and metal. So saddle manufacturers are manufacturing saddles for different disciplines, because when it comes to horse riding, there are general purpose saddles which are manufactured for leisure riding, which has nothing to do with sport. However, there are different type of sport activities which are considered under horse riding, such as show jumping, and there's polo, dressage. So for each of these various disciplines which fall under horse riding, you have to develop a totally different type of saddle. So each saddle manufacturer focuses on developing different types of saddles which are manufactured for different riding disciplines, and they are utilizing different types of material to manufacture each type of saddle as well. So they might be using leather or synthetic material, as well as different types of metal. And when it comes to developing the structure of each saddle, the structure is known as a saddle tree. In the good olden days, saddle trees were manufactured using metal, but now carbon fiber had come in with the intention of significantly reducing the weight of the saddle, because if you reduce the weight of the saddle, then it improves the rider's performance as well as the comfort of the horse. So considering all these elements, different saddle manufacturers focus on manufacturing different type of saddles utilizing different type of material. And product characteristics are focused on comfort. With regards to comfort, we have to think about the rider as well as the horse, and we have to think about the durability, the performance, especially if the saddles are used for sport related activities, then we have to be considerate about the performance. And on top of that, saddles are manufactured to ensure rider's safety as well as the horse's safety. So that's the market definition. I'm not gonna get into the other areas. I'm simply gonna move on to industry trends. Okay, so by understanding the industry trends, you are in a position to understand what type of scenarios will be tested or thrown at you at your real exam. So when looking at industry trends, first things first, we need to understand what type of technological advancements the industry is going through. So nowadays, since we are in the fourth industrial revolution, since there's a lot of digitalization happening, this type of digitalization had affected the saddle manufacturing industry as well, or horse riding industry as well. So because of that, smart saddles had been introduced. So what is a smart saddle? This is a type of saddle which helps the rider keep track of the performance, as well as keep track of whether the horse is encountering some type of discomfort when using some type of saddle. So smart saddles had been introduced into the market, and most saddle manufacturers are focusing on achieving increased levels of sustainability, especially given the fact that younger riders are always trying to purchase only from companies which are eco-friendly. So sustainability is a key element which drives sales in this day and age. So most saddle manufacturers, with the intention of achieving a high level of sustainability, are utilizing recycled material, vegetable tan leather, as well as have taken initiatives or steps to reduce carbon emissions with regards to manufacturing. And nowadays, as I mentioned earlier, carbon fiber is used when manufacturing saddles. So because of that, lightweight and comfortable saddles are introduced into the market. which are actually benefiting the rider as well as the horse. And there's online retail as well. So in the good olden days, most customers, when it comes to purchasing a saddle, they had to walk into a retail outlet and purchase their preferred saddle. But now online retail is coming into the picture as well, which leads to informed purchase decisions leading to customer satisfaction. So most customers, what they do is before they purchase a saddle, they gain a lot of information via these online channels, and because of that, online retail is going up in demand. And most manufacturers are also considering about the health and welfare of horses, and they are doing everything to ensure that their saddles distribute the weight equally, which will be beneficial for the horse and reduce the pressure points as well. And versatility is considered because, as I told you earlier, there are multiple disciplines when it comes to horse riding. So for each discipline, we have to come up with different types of saddles. So multidisciplinary, multi-purpose saddles are manufactured by so many saddle manufacturers out there. And safety is key. So because of that, most manufacturers have introduced quick breakaway mechanisms with the intention of ensuring that the rider is safe whenever there is an accident or a collision. And the aesthetics and fashion had changed as well, especially focused on dressage saddles as well as general purpose saddles, and there's a lot of customization happening as well. So these are the industry trends, and based on these trends, scenarios will be presented at your real examination. So that's what I wanted to highlight about the industry. So I hope you understand what this industry is about. Now let's move on to the Preseen document. Again, given the restriction of time, I'm not going to take you through the entire Preseen document. Instead, I'm simply going to focus on what happens within different departments of Kanann. As I mentioned earlier, our Preseen analysis sessions consist of 4 videos. So I'm not going to, cover all the elements which are covered within the 4 videos. Instead, I'm simply gonna focus on one of the videos or the elements which are covered within one of the Preseen analysis videos. Okay, so we are looking at company operations. So first things first, we are looking at sales markets and sales channels. So based on the facts and figures provided in here, as at 31st December 2023, you need to know that the 31st of December is our financial year end. So as at our previous financial year end, 31st December 2023, we sold 1,705 saddles in total, thereby generating a total revenue of $5.86 million. And we achieved a gross profit margin of 34%. And looking at the sales channels, when it comes to selling our saddles, as I told you earlier, we are involved with designing and manufacturing saddles. And when it comes to selling, we are not selling directly to end customers. Instead, we are working through wholesalers and retailers. So in other words, we are involved with B2B sales, business to business sales. So we are selling to retailers and wholesalers, and these retailers and wholesalers will eventually sell to end customers. And some of the retailers only sell Kanann branded saddles. These are sole retailers, and we sell to other saddle retailers, which not only sell our saddles, they sell our competitors' saddles as well. And Kanann sells in Keeland as well as globally. So we are not only selling within our own locality, as since you should have gone through the Preseen document, and if you had gone through the Preseen document, you'd know that we are based in a country which is known as Keeland. So we are conducting our manufacturing and designing operations by being located within Keeland. And on top of that, we are not only selling to Keeland, we are selling to international markets as well. So when looking at sales, we generate 65% of total revenue by selling within Keeland, and we generate the rest 35% of total revenue by selling in other markets. And when trying to understand the relationships which we enjoy with our wholesalers and retailers, as I told you earlier, these are our customers. We are not selling to end customers. Instead, we are selling to wholesalers and wholesalers and retailers in turn will sell to end customers. So all in all, since we are involved with a B2B relationship, we have to consider these wholesalers and retailers as our customers. So when looking at customer relationships, we are offering credit periods which range from 30 to 60 days. So what this tells us is this gives us an indication about our receivable days. So once we sell our saddle or saddles to these retailers and wholesalers, we have offered a credit period which spans across 30 to 60 days. So these guys, these customers or retailers or wholesalers they have the option of repaying us within 30 to 60 days. And all our wholesale and retail customers pay us on time due to close relationships with sales teams, which is extremely beneficial. This is a significant strength of the company. When it comes to managing our short-term financing or working capital, it's of utmost importance that we ensure that we recover monies due from our customers. So we have given them credit periods which spans across 30 to 60 days. And given the relationships Kanann's sales team have with each and every retailer and wholesaler, we have made sure to create a situation where these wholesalers and retailers pay us on time, which is extremely beneficial for us when managing our short-term financing or working capital. And sales team tries to visit Keelan's wholesalers and retailers twice a year. Okay, so that's good. And Kanann receives orders via, so when receiving orders, how does our order processing system work? We are receiving orders via email, and some of these retailers and wholesalers, they will contact our sales team via phone, or they will contact our sales team personally by walking into our office. So looking at the sales ordering process, what I can say is it's a bit primitive, because in this day and age, when we can utilize a website or some type of a sales ordering system, we are solely relying on traditional means of sales ordering, where we receive the orders via email, via phone, or these retailers or wholesalers will come and meet us at our office. But we are in the fourth industrial revolution. There's a lot of digitalization happening. So with this type of digitalization, if we rely on these traditional methods, it might lead to inefficiencies, because there will be delays in us fulfilling these orders. So the best way to go about it in this day and age is to utilize, at least you utilize a website. If not, the best means of handling our sales ordering process is to go for a system, a proper sales ordering system. So based on this information, probable exam scenarios which can be tested are with regards to expanding to another market. Since we are already a global player, there could be a question, or there could be a set of scenarios which are built on us expanding to another market, such as a new market which is based in the Americas or in Asia. And based on it, you'd have to come up with your forecasts about the new market. So when forecasting about the new market, decision trees, your knowledge pertaining to decision trees, expected values, standard deviations, coefficient of variation, all these elements will be tested. And on top of that, when moving into another country, you have to keep track of risks. So and on top of that, you'd have to keep track of the efficiency and effectiveness of the expansion initiative. So with this in mind, you'd be expected to come up with or suggest KPIs. So likewise, different elements will be tested based on a scenario which is built around an expansion. And within our mock exams, we have covered this area. And another probable exam scenario is with regards to transitioning to website-based order processing, because as I told you earlier, our sales order process system is primitive. So it's better to go for website-based or system-based order processing scenario. So probable areas which can be tested are with regards to suggesting KPIs to keep track of the effectiveness and efficiency of the expansion drive. If we are developing our own website for sales order processing, then you'd have to suggest KPIs for website performance. And we definitely have to keep track of wholesaler and retailer performance. So you'd be expected to suggest KPIs and suggest KPIs to keep track of the efficiency of our sales team. So that's everything to do with sales. Then moving on to manufacturing or the production department. So as per the information presented, we are involved with 100% in-house manufacturing. So when it comes to manufacturing, we are not, we have not outsourced certain elements of our manufacturing process. Instead, we are handling everything within our factory itself and looking at the composition of our production facility. It is divided into three main elements. One area is focused on carrying out production operations. The second area is focused on running a raw material warehouse, and we have a finished good warehouse as well. So our production facility is divided into three main elements, and the production and packaging time spent per saddle is 28 direct labor hours. You'd better understand what this is in a little while. Not within this session. Once you watch all 4 Preseen analysis sessions, you'd understand what this production packaging time tells us, because we are utilizing direct labor hour absorption base. So this gives us an indication about the standard time spent on producing and packaging one single saddle. And looking at the production stages, as you can see, it's divided into 4 main elements. First things first, the cutting operations take place. Once all the raw material are cut, then it goes into assembly. So all these different components and raw material are put together as part of assembly operations. And after that, the assembled saddles are sent to the finishing department. And from the finishing department, we send them to the packaging department for packaging. So let's try to figure out what happens within each and every department. With regards to cutting, it's labor and machine intensive. So we are utilizing a certain set of machines, and on top of that, we are utilizing labor as well. And look, with regards to assembly, assembly operations are conducted again using machines as well as labor. However, what you need to understand is, with regards to assembly, it's highly labor intensive, because we depend on skilled laborers when it comes to assembly operations. And although this is the case, we are not manufacturing our saddle trees. Instead, we are purchasing saddle trees from a sustainable third-party supplier. So saddle trees are brought in, or the manufacturing of saddle trees are outsourced, but everything else which has to do with assembly are handled by our employees, as well as within our assembly operations, we are utilizing certain machines as well. And when it comes to finishing, oiling and quality check happens. So oiling is done with the intention of ensuring the longevity of the leather used within our saddles. And the final quality checks are done within the finishing department, and the finished saddles are sent to the packaging department, where each of our saddles will be packaged in bespoke boxes. And packaging is extremely essential for protecting saddles during transportation. So if we are to satisfy our customers, we have to ensure that we safely transport each saddle which we have manufactured. So even if we get our manufacturing operations 100% right, if we screw up packaging, then it leads to customer dissatisfaction. So handling our packaging operations in the most efficient manner is a key to ensure the quality of the saddles which we manufacture. So based on these information, the probable areas which can be tested are with regards to suggesting KPIs focused on the production department, suggesting KPIs focused on third-party tree suppliers, make or buy decisions. The examiner gives us a hint about this element definitely being tested at your examination, especially given the fact that we are involved with 100% in-house manufacturing. So in the future, we might contemplate, our senior management team will definitely contemplate about outsourcing certain elements of our manufacturing operations. So make or buy decisions, your knowledge pertinent to make or buy decisions will be tested. Activity-based costing and activity-based budgeting will be tested, especially given the fact that there's an indication about the absorption rate which we utilize. So at the moment, we are utilizing, or we are sticking to a traditional absorption costing basis, and we are using a standard costing basis. However, in the future, with the intention of reducing our cost of sales, reducing our indirect expenses or overheads, we have to move into an activity-based costing scenario. So your knowledge pertaining to ABC and activity-based budgeting will be tested. Linear programming, because you as a finance officer, you have to be involved with short-term decision making. So when we are faced with scarce resources or resource constraints, you have to utilize your knowledge pertinent to linear programming when coming up with decisions pertinent to the best use of limited resources. So these elements will be tested. What if and sensitivity analysis, these areas will definitely be tested. And on top of that, how to adopt total quality management with the intention of significantly improving our production operations. So all these elements are covered within our mock exams, and the probable exam scenarios which can be tested are with regards to keeping track of there could be a question which is focused on some type of production inefficiency which we are facing at the moment, which leads to machine downtime as well as idling staff. So you'd have to evaluate if we are facing this type of an issue, you'd have to evaluate the reasons for the issue, and at the same time come up with your suggestions to overcome each of these issues. So based on these elements, the probable areas which can be tested are with regards to your knowledge pertaining to variance analysis, the variable and fixed overhead variances, labor variances, all these elements will be tested. Then IAS 10 events after reporting period will be tested, and IFRS 5 non-current assets held for sale and discontinued operations will be tested, because when trying to revamp manufacturing operations, we'd have to sell our existing machinery. So when selling our existing machinery, if there are any machines which are left unsold by the financial year end, then we have to reclassify them as non-current assets held for sale. And when doing it, you have to explain how we are supposed to do it as per the guidelines provided by IFRS 5. So all these elements are covered within the mock exam, so you need not worry. And moving on to distribution. Distribution is outsourced, although we are involved with 100% in-house manufacturing. When it comes to distribution, we have outsourced it to a specialist distributor, and this company distributes across Keyland as well as globally. And you might be expect to suggest KPIs focused on this distribution agent. And with regards to purchasing and supplies, we are purchasing different type of raw material and component. So we are purchasing the saddle trees or the structure of each saddle. We are purchasing leather, flocking material, as well as consumables. So let's try to figure out what type of different type of material we are purchasing. So when it comes to purchasing trees, we are purchasing 3 grades of trees: type 1, type 2, and type 3. So type 1 is the heaviest. So because of that, it should be considered as the cheapest or the lowest quality. And type 3 saddle is the lightest. So because of that, we have to consider it to be the highest quality. Because of that, it's the most expensive. So type 1 is the cheapest, type 3 saddle tree is the most expensive. And when it comes to leather, we are utilizing 5 grades of leather focused on the 5 different products which we manufacture. So our leather grades from A to E, E being the lowest quality and A being the highest quality. So out of the 5 product ranges, the Comet range is the highest quality range. So when manufacturing Comet range saddles, we utilize type A leather and type 3 trees. And looking at flocking material, we are using high quality flocks, which has everything to do with our reputation. Our reputation is built on quality. So because of that, we are focusing on purchasing the best type of flocking material. And looking at consumables, we are purchasing tools, other raw material, as well as packaging material. And when purchasing each of these elements, we try to source these raw material as well as tools from sustainable sources. And on top of that, our webbing is made from recycled nylon, which further improves our standing as a sustainable company. And looking at suppliers and relationships, we are engaged with multiple sourcing from long-standing suppliers. So we are dealing with the same set of suppliers for a long period of time, and multiple sourcing is beneficial because we'd never run out of any type of raw material. However, multiple sourcing leads to a situation where we are trying to create some type of competition between different suppliers, which is not too good for relationships. However, since we are dealing with the same set of suppliers for a long period of time, even if we opt for multiple sourcing, this information indicates that we have good relationships with our suppliers, which is good. And when selecting suppliers, we select them based on their sustainability standing. So for instance, when purchasing packaging material, it should be 100% recyclable. And what type of credit terms are offered by our suppliers? It ranges between 30 to 75 days. So this gives us an indication about our payable days. So our payable days, or the time which we have when it comes to repaying our suppliers, span across 30 to 75 days. And some of our suppliers offer prompt payment discounts, and we do not always use it, maybe because of our cash position. And some offer bulk discounts, especially on flocking and consumables, and we are always making use of these bulk discounts on offer. So based on this information, I've conducted a general analysis. We are working with multiple suppliers, and we are focusing on sustainability when it comes to pursuing supplier relationships, and we opt for bulk purchases. And when we opt for bulk purchases, it will increase our stock holding costs. So this indicates that we are purchasing buffer stocks. When we purchase buffer stocks, it will significantly increase our stock holding costs, and these elements are covered within the mocks. So the probable areas which can be tested will be with regards to inventory management, EOQ, economic order quantity, IAS2 inventories, as well as working capital management tied to inventory management. All these elements will be tested. Just-in-time purchasing versus EOQ model, all these elements will be tested. These are covered within our mock exams. Then working capital management, how we manage our receivables, payables, as well as inventories, which in turn affect our cash flow or in the short term. And on top of that, you might be faced with a scenario where you are supposed to evaluate the financial standing of a supplier before we start purchasing from a new supplier. So the receivable days, payable days, inventory days, the revenue figures, the customer base, all these information about 2 or 3 suppliers will be provided, and based on this information, you'd be expected to carry out your evaluations considering the working capital position of Kanann. So all these elements are covered within our mock exams. As I mentioned earlier, your knowledge pertinent to IAS2 inventories will be tested, and you'd be expected to suggest KPIs for the suppliers and come up with supply chain management strategies as well. Okay, then looking at warehouse operations, this is where receipt and storage of good inward occurs, and all these raw material which are brought in issued to the production department, and this is part and parcel of the responsibilities of our warehouse staff. And on top of that, storing finished saddles. Once we are done with manufacturing and assembly processes, storing finished saddles within our warehouse, this falls under warehouse operations as well. And all activities are highly labor intensive. So based on it, probable areas which can be tested are with regards to suggesting KPIs for warehouse operations, again covered within the mocks. And finally, let's look at what happens within our finance department. Our financial systems are not integrated. So this is a major shortcoming of our company. As I mentioned earlier, we are not utilizing systems for our benefit. We don't have a proper sales ordering system. The same could be said about our financial internal financial systems as well, because our financial systems are not integrated across the organization. So this leads to complexities. Our finance department will not have the capability of keeping track of the costs which arise within each and every department, which affect cost management initiatives in a negative manner. And on top of that, as per the information provided, we are using standard absorption costing, which is based on direct labor hours, as I mentioned earlier. And the standard cost cards are updated on an annual basis. So we can see that our costing initiatives are extremely traditional. So when standard cost cards, when a company adheres to standard costing, and these standards, when they are updated every 12 months, definitely we'd be exposed to variances, because the actual performance will be different to what's stipulated within each standard or within each budget. Why is this the case? Because the standards and budgets are updated every 12 months. So we might be sticking to outdated standards or outdated budgets. When that occurs, it results in variances. So your knowledge pertaining to variance analysis will definitely be tested at your exam. So you have to be conversant with sales variances, different variances pertaining to direct material, as well as labor variances, then variances concerning the overheads, both variable and fixed overheads. All these different variances which are covered under the P1 syllabus will be tested. There's absolutely nothing to worry. All the variances are covered within our mock exams. And on top of that, looking at budgeting, we are adhering to an annual incremental budgeting system. So again, in an incremental system, what happens is we do not change the budget, or we stick to a static budget for a 12-month period. And when it comes to setting the new budget focused on the next year, what we do is we consider the previous period's budget, and considering each and every line item, we add a certain percentage or deduct a certain percentage, thereby determining the next year's budget. So this is known as an incremental approach, a traditional approach, which comes with benefits as well as costs. These elements are covered within our mock exams. So all in all, considering this information, I've conducted a general analysis. With regards to finance operations, it's extremely primitive, because we are solely conducting financial operations with the intention of recording our financial transactions. Or in other terms, we are solely focused on financial accountancy. We are not really focused on management accountancy. So you should know the difference between financial accountancy and management accountancy. Financial accountancy is all about preparing financial statements or conducting reporting initiatives. Management accountancy is about utilizing these reports for short-term as well as long-term decision making. So we are not really utilizing our financial systems for decision-making purposes. We are solely using our financial operations for record-keeping purposes. So as a finance officer, you have to come up with, you'd be definitely expected to come up with your evaluations and recommendations with the intention of improving the short-term decision-making within Kanann. So marginal focus is provided on management accounting, and they are solely focusing on financial accounting related initiatives. And since we are adhering to a standard costing system and an incremental budgeting system, the standards might become outdated since they are updated only annually. Hence, it's of utmost importance that we track changing market dynamics so that we we rely on accurate forecasts. And on top of that, if we track changing market dynamics, we are in a position to set accurate standards as well. So based on this information, your knowledge pertaining to variance analysis will be tested. So as you know, variance analysis is not solely focused on sales variances, labor variances, material variances, overhead variances, and whatnot. You should also be conversant with planning and operational variances. Again, these elements are covered within the mock exams. Sales mix and quantity variances, especially given the fact that we sell 5 different product categories, then that indicates that we are selling our products in a mix, which exposes you to sales mix related variances as well as quantity variances. So these elements will be tested, again covered within our mock exams. And you have to be conversant with other costing methods as well. So you need to know what standard costing is, the pros and cons of it, as well as the pros and cons of other costing systems such as activity-based costing and digital costing. And just like the costing systems, you have to be conversant with the alternatives pertaining to budgeting. You need to know the pros and cons of an incremental budgeting system, which is in force at the moment within Kanann, as well as other budgeting systems such as participative budgeting, zero-based budgeting, rolling budgets, stress testing. And on top of that, you have to be conversant with what-if analysis and sensitivity analysis. So I hope you gained an idea about what happens within the different departments of your chosen company. So all in all, everything looks to be good. The shortcomings are with regards to use of systems. So our finance operations need to change considerably. And on top of that, it's better if our sales ordering system changes as well. Other than that, with regards to dealing with different stakeholders, we seem to be totally fine, and we seem to have good relationships with our customers as well as our suppliers. Okay, so having said that, if you have any questions, you can raise them now. I'm going to pause the recording. All right, folks. So thank you very much for those questions. I hope there aren't any more questions. If you still have questions, you can type it out on the chat section. So, let me quickly tell you about what we achieved in November 2023. We achieved an 89% pass rate. And as you can see, when the pass mark was just 80, this student ended up getting 117 marks for OCS. And this was a student who came through the exemption route, FLP route, and this was the first sitting. And by sticking to our study plan, by just spending 7 hours of study time per week and utilizing our resources, this student was able to pass with flying colors. So that's what our national rankers are telling us as well. Okay, so having said that, it brings us to the end of our session. Before I do, let me quickly tell you how you can contact us. You can contact us via our website, which is www.study@tcs.com, or email us via info@study@tcs.com, or WhatsApp us on this number. And I invite you guys to follow us on our social media handles. The recorded version of this session will be uploaded to the website as well as our YouTube channel. So go subscribe it. And on top of that, I hope you would have already checked out the blog post which I shared with you via the WhatsApp group, which indicates the dynamics about the chosen industry as well as the internal dynamics of the company. I've also highlighted the shortcomings, key shortcomings of the company based on which your scenarios will be developed at your real examination. So please check out our blog posts, which can be accessed via our website directly. This is the blog post which I'm talking about. Then via the TikTok, go follow us on TikTok as well, because as I mentioned earlier, we have already developed 3 TikTok videos, which is a good mind map of the entire pre-scene. So within 6 to 7 minutes, you can cover the entire pre-scene. So if you keep watching these 3 TikTok videos on a continuous basis, you need not do anything else to memorize the most important points which are highlighted within your pre-scene document. So having said that, it brings us to the end of tonight's webinar. Thank you very much for joining in. I hope you guys gained something out of this session, and I want you guys to attend the 3rd webinar, which is the most important webinar, which is happening next Saturday at 10 a.m. UK time. Thank you very much and take care.